Alrighty, Legend for Life here, bringing you guys a brand new Blast from the Past. Today we are talking about the Ally of Justice. This is a DT archetype. It was actually pretty integral to the storyline of the DT series, but however, for being as important to the story of the DTs as it was, it's not a very good archetype, mostly because of how specific it is and how specifically gimmicky it is. So, every archetype has a gimmick to it that makes it appealing to people to play, or unappealing in some cases. And this is definitely one of those cases. So the Ally of Justice archetype is a dark machine archetype, and it is all about synchroing and being anti-light. Okay, so the reason why they're so anti-light is because, technically speaking, they're more so anti-worms. For those who don't know about the storyline of the DT series, basically the worms are like invading the world and stuff, and the Ally of Justice was created to fight the worms. And so, because the worms are light, these guys are dark, and they are totally dedicated to destroying light. That being said, they are a little bit too good. Well, not even too good. They're a little bit too specific and single-minded in their destruction of light, to the point where they are so terrible against everything else. A lot of their effects require their opponent's monsters to be light monsters, and it's just not very good. Heck, only actually three Ally of Justice monsters have ever been really even relevant ever, and that's Cycle Reader, Catastor, and Size of Armor. And of course, we will get to all those guys as we go along. So, first thing you will notice is that this deck has no spell or trap support whatsoever. This is bad, okay? Look, I don't care what the archetype is about, unless it's super heavy samurais or something else that is like against playing spell cards and trap cards. There is no reason an archetype should not have even a single spell or trap card support card. And so, with that fact being in the case, like, they could have easily have had like a spell or trap card that makes it to where all opponents' monsters are light, or all monsters are treated as light that your opponent controls. That would have been so good. But no, we got a straight up monster only deck. So let's go to cover these guys. So first and foremost, they have a vanilla for some reason, and that is Ally of Justice Colossalus. He's a level 6, 2300 attack, 1200 defense. Not bad for a normal monster that's level 6, I gotta be honest, but really, I mean, no one's gonna play this. Even if you were playing Ally of Justice, the only way I could ever feasibly think of anybody actually playing this is if they were playing like a mix of Ally of Justice and Heroics, but I don't see that being a thing. So, continuing on, we have Ally of Justice Thunder Armor, level 8, 2700, 2200 defense. Machine Dark, not going to cover the typing and attribute because they're all Machine and Dark. This card cannot be special summoned when an Ally of Justice monster you control attacks a defense position monster and inflict piercing damage to your opponent. So, one of the few monsters in the deck that's like not completely and totally anti-light is this guy, which I'm assuming is supposed to be their main deck boss monster. The issue with this guy is that very first line attacks. This card cannot be special summoned. If this guy could be special summoned, he'd be a lot better. He's a level 8, so you could trade him in, and then draw 2 cards, and then call it a hunt him back. But no, Konami had to go and make it to where he can't be special summoned, even though he has such a mediocre effect of giving all of your Ally of Justices piercing. Which, don't get me wrong, that's nice, okay? Especially since some of the Ally of Justices are kind of beefy. But this guy... Why can't he be special summoned? That is so stupid. He would be a lot better if he could be, for the reason I already stated. So, because of that lack of ability to special summoning, and also the fact that this deck really can't like spam at all, it just he's not good. He's not good. He's not worth playing at all. Next up is Ally of Justice Cosmic Gateway. He's 2400 attack, 1200 defense. If your opponent controls 2 or more monsters, including at least a light monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. So, if your opponent controls 2 or more monsters, and at least one of them is a light monster, you can just plop this guy onto the board. He's level 8, so he's also trade-in target like Thunder Armor. And also, because he's level 8, that means you can drop 2 of these guys, overlay into like Hope Harbinger, or any other rank 8 that you want to, because there's a crap ton of awesome ones. With that being said, though, he's 2400, and I mean, like, the level 8 or higher, sorry, the level 9 or higher synchros for this deck need 2 non-tuners. this guy is way too high of a level to be able to be beneficial to going into either Field Marshal or Decisive Armor. That being said, though, 2400 on an easy to summon monster is not too bad. Now then, next up is Ally of Justice Enemy Catcher. 1800 by 18, level 6, so you need to tribute summon him. Granted, though, it's not as bad nowadays because of March of the Monarch. No, not March of the Monarch. Monarch Stormforth. Yeah, I think that's the one I'm thinking of. Anyway, so he's 18 by 18, so terrible stats for a level 6, especially by today's standards. When this card is normal summoned, you can take control of one face-down defense position monster your opponent controls until the end phase of this turn. So, this guy is specifically meant to counter worms. And worms, if you guys don't know, their whole gimmick is being in face-down defense position and getting flick effects and stuff. So, this guy is specifically made to counter worms, take control of one of them. Granted, you only get it till the end phase. What? I mean, for the fact that you have to tribute summon this guy, he only gets that effect whenever he's normal summoned, and you only, like, you get to keep the monster until the end of the turn. What? Like, the fact that you only get it whenever you normal summon this thing, it makes me think that you should really keep the monster for good, especially since this thing is called Enemy Catcher. Like, if he doesn't keep it, he's terrible at his job. Like, for Christ's sake, he's an enemy catcher, and he can't keep it. Like, what? It's like a fisherman who throws his fish back into the water whenever he's caught him. Like, oh, hey. He's not very good. This is one of the worst of the Ally of Justice, and sadly, they have a lot of bad cards. Next up is Ally of Justice Omni Weapon. 2200 attack, level 5, 800 defense. When this card destroys a light monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, draw one card. So, yeah, not bad, I like that. If that card is a level 4 or lower dark monster, you can reveal that card to special summon it. So this is one of the deck's few ways of getting out monsters easily by spamming. So, he has to destroy a light monster by battle, and you get to draw one card. Okay, and then if that's a level 4 or lower dark monster, so pretty much any of these guys over here, starting from here on outward, you will be able to special summon it. Not bad, okay? I actually like this guy a lot. My only real issue is he's level 5, but again, you can kind of counter that with Monarch Stormforth, so it's not too terrible. But again, he is level 5. But yes, 2200 attack for level 5, which isn't too bad. I mean, you can get over like Cyber Dragon and stuff, and hey, that'd be really good. Actually, Cyber Dragon's a light. Next up is Ally of Justice Rudra. Another level 5, he's 1900 by 12. If this card battles a light monster, it gains 700 attack during the damage step only. What? I mean, that's his only effect, and he's a level 5, so let's see here. He'll become 2600 if he battles a light monster. What? It's terrible. Okay, maybe it's not too terrible because he does become 2700. But that doesn't matter because lights have honest. Okay, yes, nobody plays honest anymore, but however, they still have honest, and you never know when a light deck is going to play honest or not. With that being said, though, 700 attack making him 2600 is not good. It's just not that good, especially nowadays. He's not good for level 5, okay? Next up is Ally of Justice Quarantine. 1700 attack, 1200 defense, level 4. We finally get to the level 4 and lowers. Neither player can special summon light monsters. I actually really like this card. I could see this guy being a potential anti-meta card if like a light deck ever becomes a really like big meta deck, like if Blue Eyes takes off or anything, which I think it will soonish. But however, just being able to blanketly say nobody can special summon light monsters, that is really good. This is honestly one of the best Ally of Justice cards because of that simple effect. Now, granted, yes, again, it's specific to light monsters, but however, there are so many light decks out there. Light Sworn, Blue Eyes, Cosmos Half-Light, so you can kind of stop half of their deck. I already said Light Storm, didn't I? Look, there's a lot of light decks. Oh yeah, Cyber Dragons. That's another big light deck. So you're able to stop a lot of the light decks out there. I can't think of all of them off the top of my head. But however, just being able to blanketly say no is just really awesome. This guy is awesome. He's 1700 attack too, which is not bad for a level 4 at all. Next up is Ally of Justice 1000 Arms, 1700 attack, 0 defense. This card can attack all face-up non-light All face-up light monsters your opponent controls 1 seat. If this card battles a non-light monster, destroy this card before damage calculation. Okay, okay, so in the gimmick of this archetype, he is not too bad because he's 1700, so he's able to attack all over a lot of level 4 lower light monsters, and he is able to attack all light monsters your opponent controls. But the instant you duel against a non-light deck, this guy dies instantly against a non-light monster. It's not bad when you're doing against a light deck, but he's terrible if you're doing against a non-light deck, which there are a lot of out there. Next up is Ally of Justice Nullifier. 1600 attack, 1200 defense. Any light monster that has battled this card has its effects negated starting after damage calculation. So if he battles a light monster, its effects are negated. So really only good against Marshmallow. Or if a light monster attacks over it, like I could see somebody setting this and your opponent has like a Blue Eyes Twin Burst attacks over this thing. Oh, hey, Blue Eyes Twin Burst now has its effects negated. That's not too terrible, honestly. It's not too terrible. He has decent stats. He could use like 200 or 100 more, but hey, whatever. He's not too terrible. I actually kind of like this guy, to be honest. Next up is Ally of Justice Gerahald, or Gerahald. Really hard to pronounce. 1600 attack, 400 defense. If this card battles the light monster, it gains 200 attack during the damage step only. So this guy's kind of like a mini Ruja. He goes up to 1800 if he battles a light monster. It's not bad, but not good. I mean, 1800 is not terrible, but it's just not good. It's just not enough. If it was 400 and he became 2000, oh my god, he'd be basically a Crystal Beast Topaz Tiger. Which this thing is clearly trying to mimic, but hey, he's not getting to it. So, really, honestly, if he was 400 attack gain, it'd be a lot better, but no, he's not, so, oh well. Next up is Ally of Justice Reverse Break. 1200 by 1200 if there's a face-up light monster on the field, destroy this card. What? If this card attacks a face-down defense position monster, destroy the monster immediately with this card's effect without flipping it up or applying damage calculation. So, if this thing attacks a face-down defense position monster, that card is immediately destroyed. It does not get to flip up and use its effect or anything. Nothing. No, it's immediately destroyed. This guy is obviously intended to be completely and totally anti-worm, kind of like crap. Which one was it? Oh yeah, this guy, and yeah, I mean that's what they're designed to face off against is the worms. So being able to auto pop a face down defense is not terrible, but there's so many light decks out there and that don't rely on being face down that this guy's gonna pop right off the battle zone, monster zone, instantly that you summon him. Sorry, I had a brain fart for a second. He's not terrible because he's automatically able to just destroy a face-down defense position monster, and that is really good in my personal opinion because you're able to just pop it and be done with it. So I could see him being really good against Ghost Tricks too. But the issue with this guy is that there's not enough light decks that like to be in face-down defense position. So yeah, he's not terrible, but he's not good either. And that's really one of the big things about this deck is that a lot of their cards are meh, and this guy's meh, 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 really good, terrible, meh, terrible, meh, terrible, terrible, just meh, 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 everywhere. And that is just really, like, sad because this deck is supposed to be like a heroes kind of thing and the DT stuff. Again, I really feel like that this deck just needs some spell and trap card support that makes everything your opponent controls light, and like maybe forces light monsters being faced on defense position or something. Next up is Ally of Justice Cyclone Creator. 1400 attack, 1200 defense. This guy's a tuner. Once per turn, you can discard one card from your hand and return one spell or trap card from the field to the hand equal to the number of face-up tuner monsters on the field. Very interesting card, I'm not going to lie. So, you discard a card, and then return any number of spell trap cards your opponent, from the field to the hand equal to the number of face-up tuners on the field. So, at minimum, it's going to be a 1-for-1. I wish he would destroy instead of return, But however, it's not too terrible, honestly. I mean, just getting rid of back row before you go for a big synchro play is very nice, so you don't have to worry about a solemn warning or anything. So I actually kind of like this guy. Next up is Ally of Justice Searcher. Ironically, he does not search. So he's a level 3, 1400 attack, 100 defense. Once per turn, you can discard one card to select one face-down defense position monster your opponent controls and change it to face-up attack position. Flip effects are not activated at this time. So obviously, he's supposed to be anti-worm. He is honestly not all that great. So he doesn't search despite his name. I get it, yeah, he's supposed to be searching the face-down defense position monsters, flipping them face-up, and forcing them into attack mode without applying their effects. But however, he doesn't really do much for the actual deck. And I really feel like that if he was an actual searcher, which is another thing this deck needs, he would be a lot better, but oh well. Next up is Ally of Justice Unknown Crusher, so this thing's an elephant or something. 1200 attack, 800 defense. When this card battles a light monster, remove that monster from play after damage calculation. So, if this guy just battles a light monster, it's banished at the end of the damage calculation, the monster that you battled with it. The issue with this thing is that it has very low stats. So you're not going to be running over anything, okay? It's very, very mediocre. If he had like 800 more attack points, he'd be a lot better. Or heck, even 500 more attack points. If he had 1700 attack points, he'd be a lot better. Or even 1600, any amount more than 1200. Okay, except for 13 or 14. But really, 1500 or more would have been a lot better. But oh well, it's just not good. Like, it'd be a lot better if it had more attack points, so it could actually punch over stuff. Next up is Ally of Justice Core Destroyer. Kind of looks like a mini Catastor. Actually, I think it is supposed to be like a mini Catastor, like before Catastor becomes Catastor. Anyway, so 1200 attack, 200 defense. If this card attacks or is attacked by a light monster, destroy that monster at the start of the damage step without applying damage calculation. So yeah, it is a Catastor, but not as powerful. Next up is Ally of Justice Cycle Reader. 1000 attack, 1000 defense. This guy is one of the ones that has actually seen some play in like the meta and tournaments and stuff. During your player's turn, you can discard this card and remove from play up to two light monsters from your opponent's graveyard. So this thing is really good against stuff like Lightsworn and Blue Eyes, where you want to keep your stuff in the graveyard. And all you got to do is discard this guy, pick up 2 light cards from your opponent's grave. Very, very good card. He is a tuner too, so if you want to, you can bring him back up. I call it a Haunted and Synchro for Black Rose or something. He's a very good hand trap against the light decks. So in a light heavy format, he's not bad at all, really, honestly. And then for the final monster in the main deck, Ally of Justice Unlimiter. So 600 attack, 200 defense. He's not a tuner, and that's something that I do want to make notice real quick, is that it's really hard for this deck to make a Catastor, arguably their best synchro, because you need like one of the level 3 tuners, which by the way there's only 2 of, and Ally of Justice Unlimiter, which again, just wanted to point out, there's only 2 tuners. Yeah, there's only 2 tuners, and both of them are level 3. So, yeah. So, Ally of Justice Unlimiter. Contribute this card to double the original attack of one face-up Ally of Justice monster you control until the end phase. Yeah, I actually kind of like that. But the only issue with him is that there's no easy way to get him out on the field to double the attack of one of the Ally of Justices you control. With that being said, though, I really wish this guy was a hand trap to where you can discard him, target a Ally of Justice you control, and double his attack points. Can you imagine you're doing against Blue Eyes, okay? Your opponent has 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons, a Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon, and an Azure, Azure Blue Eyes, whatever he's called, I can't remember right now. Azure Eyes Silver Dragon, whatever it's called. And you just have this guy out, you activate Unlimiter's effect, double this thing's attack points, this guy can attack all of your opponent's light monsters. That'd be really, really good, and really stupid, because bang, 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 wipe out your opponent's board. So, with that being said, though, this guy would have been a lot better as a hand trap, or if he had some way to special summon himself from your hand. This deck is very, very weird, okay? This deck has no search cards, no way to swarm, none of them special summon any others except for freaking Omni Weapon, who's a level 5 and has to destroy a light monster at battle and send it to the graveyard in order to do that. And then you also have to draw into it with the effect. So this deck is very, very meh. It's lacking in draw, search, any kind of way of doing that, and it has the biggest reason for that is it has no spell trap cards. No spell or trap cards whatsoever. Here, I will show you guys. I am not making this up. Just search Ally of Justice. They have 23 cards total. No spell or trap cards whatsoever. And that is really stupid. Okay? So, really what this deck needs is spell and trap support of any kind. Any at all. Preferably draw, search, and a card that changes attributes of your opponent's monsters to light, and maybe even forces them down in face-down defense position or something equal to number of like Ally of Justices you have or something. Now we get to the Eshek. So despite them only having 2 tuners, they have 4 synchros, and they're not very easy to go into in this deck. So first and foremost is Ally of Justice Catastrophe. Everybody know what he does. He's a generic. Oh, by the way, all of them are generic. He's 2200 by 1200. At the start of the damage step, if he battles a non-dark monster, destroy that monster immediately without damage calculation. He is basically a better version of Core Destroyer. Core Destroyer only destroys light monsters. Ally of Justice destroys everything except for dark, which there's a lot of non-dark decks out there, and so Ally of Justice Catastrophe still sees play even today in some synchro decks that can make him, provided they have the room for him. Next up is Ally of Justice Light Gazer. Very weird looking monster, but I actually kind of like that card art. He's level 8, 1 tuner plus 1 or more non-tuners. By the way, as I've already mentioned, all of the tuners for this deck are level 3. Okay, so your easiest way of going into this guy is a 3 and a 5, and luckily this deck is not sort of 5. Well, actually it only has 2 5s. So your other easiest way of making this guy is a 3 and 2 level 3s. No, wait, no, that'd be 9. That'd be Marshall. 3 and 2 level 2s. Wait, no, that'd be. I cannot do math. That'd be. Let's see, 4, 3. That'd be 7. Dang it, I cannot do math, guys. It'd have to be a 3, a 2, and a 5. So yeah, you'd have to go through a hoop and a hurdle to go into this thing. In this deck. So he's level 8, 2400 attack, 1600 defense. This card gains 200 attack for each light monster in your opponent's graveyard. I actually kind of like this effect. Yeah, he's a beat stick already, and he becomes an even bigger beat stick. But however, if you've seen some of the worms, they are big beat sticks. So they need to be able to get over that. So this guy, he's not too terrible, but it's also not very good. He's just a beat stick, and that's about it. Next up is Ally of Justice Field Marshal. This guy is pretty good, actually, in my personal opinion. So, he needs a tuner and 2 or more non-tuner monsters to go into. He's 2900 by 26. I really love that card artwork of him. This card cannot be special summoned except by Synchro Summon. That is stupid, especially considering that freaking Ally of Justice Assassin Armor can be special summoned by other ways. When this card destroys a face-down defense position monster by battle and sends it to graveyard, draw 1 card. So every time this guy kills a face-down defense position monster, you get to draw a card. I like that. Any way that you can draw cards helps out the deck. He's basically a stronger Omni weapon, except without the special summoning effect. So really this deck only has 2 ways of drawing, and that's with Omni weapon and Field Marshal, and both of them require you to destroy a monster, which is kind of sad. Now we get to their boss monster, Ally of Justice Decisive Armor. This guy is arguably their best monster aside from Catastrophe. So he needs a tuner plus 2 or more non-tuners once per turn. If your opponent controls a face-up light monster, you can activate one of these effects. Select one set card your opponent controls and destroy it. So obviously that's supposed to be like against like the worms and popping their face-down defense position monsters, or popping their back row, stuff like that. A very good first effect. Send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard to destroy all spell trap cards your opponent controls. I love that effect. It's a heavy storm. Send all cards in your hand to the graveyard to look at your opponent's hand, and send all light monsters in their hand to the graveyard. Then inflict damage to your opponent equal to the total attack of the monster sent to the graveyard. So that is a potentially devastating effect. So at minimum, all you need is 1 card in hand, send it to the graveyard, look at your opponent's hand, and all of their light monsters go to the graveyard. That is a powerful effect, and they take damage equal to the attack points of all of the monsters sent to the graveyard. All of them. That is insane. Okay? funny little story, guys. Back in when the new Blue Eye stuff first came out, okay, the original new Blue Eye stuff, like Destruction stuff with Azure Eyes and Silver Scry and stuff like that, I was playing Nordics at the time. I went into this thing against Blue Eyes, used that effect, sent a few of the tuners to the graveyard, looked at his hand. He had all 3 Blue Eyes in his hand, and he took 9,000 damage, and that was game. And it was glorious. I think I actually had that replay on a video. I can't remember. So, this guy, he's honestly the best monster in the deck, or at least the extra deck. Probably tied with Allied Justice and Catastor. Field Marshal's okay. Light Gazer is mediocre, okay? Like, really, honestly, if I had to rate them, I'd probably do it like this. Decisive Armor, Catastor, Field Marshal, and then Light Gazer. And Catastor can also, honestly, be considered to be the best because he's easier to make in most Synchro decks other than Decisive Armor. Now, believe it or not, but they do have actually one card from the anime. I don't know when or where this was used in the anime. I don't know who used it. I don't know where it came from. But it was used in the anime, apparently. So this is Ally of Justice Tractor. He's level 1, Dark Machine, 0/0. Not a tuner. I wish he was a tuner, but oh well. If your opponent controls a face-up light monster, you contribute this card, add 2 Ally of Justice monsters from your deck to your hand. Why do we not have this card? This deck has no search power, 2 cards that let them draw, no spell trap cards, and this guy was used in the anime. Why do we not have him? I mean, like, can you imagine 1-for-1, summon this guy, use his effect, tribute him off, add 2 Ally of Justice cards from your deck to your hand. And heck, you can even add another copy of himself, so you can potentially search for another 2 more if you normal summon it, and then use that guy's effect. Why is this thing not, like, why is this card not an actual card? It actually probably, it would actually help out Ally of Justice a lot. Like, it would help them out a lot. So much, but no, it's not real, so, oh well. So yeah, that's Ally of Justice in a nutshell. They're anti-light, anti-face-down monsters. Their biggest issues is their lack of spell and trap support, and the fact that they have no way of searching themselves except for 1 card from the anime. And they are so anti-light that it's ridiculous. They have no way of, like, really effectively battling any other attribute. And not only that, but they have no in-house way of turning your opponent's monsters into light, which is really annoying. I feel like that they could really use it. Yes, I know there's one of the DNA cards, I forgot what it's called. It's like DNA something. DNA transplant that changes the attributes of all monsters on the field. So that would help out, but it also insta-kill reverse break, which is funny. So it's just, this deck is very meh. If it was a lot better, if it had better ways of searching and drawing and everything, and it had just better ways of swarming, that's another big thing. This deck has no way of swarming out onto the field. Yes, they have 2 tuners, but neither of them have ways of getting onto the field. And it's very mediocre. This deck needs a lot to really be effective in anything. But, however, at the same case, I feel like that it doesn't need that much. I feel like they just need a few really strong cards, and that's about it. So, guys, what do you think of Ally of Justice? Have you ever tried playing this deck? I have, and I regretted it. This deck is very interesting. I feel like Quarantine could actually be like a viable anti-meta thing if like you ever get into another light-oriented meta. So, guys, thank you all for watching. Have a great day. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. See you all later. Have a great day. Peace out.